people are probably already asking, what is the Forever Agent? And we will get into it. And this is going to be a bit of an anthology. Each one of these points could be a 2-hour podcast in and of itself. We decided to come up with a podcast exclusively for the Forever Agent concept. I want to dive into this. I want to spend some time on this because, look, you need to list to last, which is a stupid word that you taught me. Now, we need to go from listing presentations to customized marketing proposals. So take it from the top. Every time I get a chance to do one of my little gigs locally, I like to say, why are we calling them listing presentations? I do my best Allan Dalton ripoff because I just believe in it so much. So take it away with that.
Well, Andrew, first of all, there's nothing more important in life than confidence. I know as a basketball player that I always had confidence when I shot. And when I shot foul free throws, for example, even if it was the first 2 free throws of the game, I would always tell myself 37, 38, as if that was my 38th in a row. So I was always, and when I wasn't confident, recently I went skiing and I was no longer confident and I fell twice and I banged my head. I split open my ski helmet in front of my grandkids who were laughing. They didn't even think if I may be hurt or not, because I don't have the confidence anymore that I used to have. Sure. How would it change a realtor's life if they were so confident that they thought it would be almost impossible for somebody not to say yes on a marketing presentation? They'd invest more in their careers. They'd do more social media. They might even knock on doors. They'd approach expireds if we get more expired listing opportunities. I don't think somebody can be supremely confident with the way the industry has taught them to think. In the 1800s, when a homeowner wanted to sell their home, they used to go to the general store in their horse and buggy, Andrew, and there'd be a sign that said, list your home for sale. So the homeowner was the de facto listing agent. 150 years from now, what do you still think we call the person who represents the home seller?
That would be the listing agent.
The listing agent, okay? But I think realtors do a lot more than just list a home. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, of course.
So Confucius said all wisdom begins by properly naming things. Shakespeare said in Hamlet, suit the action to the words and the words to the action. Why are we the only profession that's putting down its value like this? Why are we stepping on our own ear holes? Why are we reducing our significance? One of the reasons why, for years, we have about 25% of the industry still using the word realtor, because you don't hear people say, hi, I'm a doctor, or I'm an engineer. Why do we have so many in the industry saying I'm a realtor? Because the most important thing that a realtor does historically is represent a homeowner, and they don't even say I'm the marketing agent. Even the buyer agent suggests representational value. But because we're still plagued with this underserved definition, which has been dragged for 200 years, that shows no value to the consumer. A lot of realtors say, I don't think the consumer really appreciates all that you do. How could they? You're the blame. You're calling yourself a listing agent. And because you call yourself a listing agent or the other agent a listing agent, that leads to the greatest sin of all, listing presentations. And it's not just semantics. Every single consumer would rather a marketing proposal. No one's ever called an agent and say, can somebody come over and make a listing presentation? We want to have the kids up too so they can hear this. No, they want marketing proposals, but it's not just semantics. A listing presentation is about the agent. A marketing proposal is about the home. A listing presentation is performative. I want to help you get the best price in the shortest period of time with the lead. That's performative. A marketing proposal is collaborative. A listing presentation seeks to educate. A marketing proposal is to activate. But then it's got to be a customized marketing proposal. When somebody is that confident, then their whole mindset changes. They no longer, and some coaches still teach us, you're going on an interview. You're not going on an interview. Something like 92% of everybody that goes ever on an interview in their life doesn't get hired. Because if you think you're going there to be interviewed, Andrew, where do you think you're going to put the spotlight on? Yourself. So agents end up thinking that they're selling themselves, but they're defending themselves. The only people that, in my research, and I've researched all industries, the only people in my research that spend as much time trying to defend themselves, sadly, are people in prison seeking parole. And that's what they do. They bring their testimonials. They speak about themselves. It's all about their worthiness as opposed to how you're going to market the home. It's a marketing proposal, and it's not just semantics.
It's brilliant. I've completely changed my language pattern. I've completely changed the way we do our marketing proposals and how we collaborate with our homeowners. And we've got a pretty good track record. I mean, at any given time, we might have 50, 60, 70 listings and a bunch more coming.
That's to your credit.
So that's just, I mean, that's my life.
Exactly.
And that's what I've been trained is, hey, if you want to last in this business, you have to represent sellers. Because I can't represent 100 buyers. Because I'd be driving around. You know how expensive gas is, by the way? It's not realistic. But I can represent a lot of sellers. So that's great. So we covered that. We talked about evolving from listing agents to marketing executives. I think we got that one. And this is another, again, these are going to be future topics we dive into at a high level with workbooks, with training, with resources, with coaches, with guests from throughout the global network who are beyond qualified to speak on this topic. But since you created it, that's why you're number one. Here we go. This goes right in. Talking about marketing versus listing, we need to evolve from staging to merchandising.
Okay, staging, Andrew, is a transactional word, but it collides with research because the average homeowner lives in a home now from 10 to 12 years. And 95% of homeowners in research suggest that I did the research for my Move, Improve, or Relocate content. 95% of homeowners indicate that they're intending to do a home improvement. Home improvement is not about staging. Home improvement is about merchandising, adding a new kitchen, putting in a new kitchen rather, adding a new bedroom, raising the height of the ceilings, transforming the landscaping, putting in a swimming pool, doing solar panels. These have nothing to do with staging, but words lead to thoughts, actions, behavior, character, and your destiny. So when we talk later about what to say when somebody says, how's the market, I'm going to revisit the profound importance between only championing the word staging and not ever using the word merchandising equally, if not more so.
Yeah, that's a big one too. And it all comes back to the fact of being a forever agent where what we're trying to do is we're trying to serve our clients not just when they're transacting real estate. And we're going to talk about that too. If you want forever clients, you have to serve them not just when they're transacting real estate. And this lets you get upstream, top of funnel, macro level merchandising versus staging. Staging comes in at the very end. Hey, let us throw a couple couches in here. We don't like your furniture. Let's get this thing sold them out.
Right.
Well, there's a way to do it better.
Exactly.
The forever way. So we're going to keep going. Staging to merchandising. Well, merchandising would be superior. We need to go from social media to social media marketing. I think I know what you mean on this, but I think it's deeper than what the words led on. What do you mean by that?
Well, like most of these topics within what you've described as an anthology require more attention, but let me just give a cursory overview of what that distinction represents. Because a lot of realtors, a lot of the general public, I think, has never made the distinction between terms. In the same way that most people think the internet and the web is the same thing. They're not. The internet preceded the web by 20 or 25 years. But that's probably more of a distinction without a difference. It really is, because they become one and the same.
Right.
Social media, social networking, and social media marketing are not one and the same. Social networking is about making and sustaining friendships. Social media is about bringing content to these platforms. Social media marketing is monetizing these friendships and content. And there's a lot of research on precisely how to do that. But if an agent goes through their entire life just thinking they're doing social media, they may be less likely to do social media marketing. Now, that said, if somebody's not doing robust social networking, getting likes, having friendships, they're probably not going to be very successful. So, too, somebody could do robust content. I could hire the editorial writer on real estate for the New York Times. They may never have a transaction. Great content, no friendships, no both. Networking. But then social media marketing is monetizing it. So if I'm doing content, for example, that says the impact of climate change 10 years from now, that may not be as monetizable is doing content, how to appeal your property taxes, how to get your home ready to selling, how to go from, how to move up effectively, how to move with children, how to move with pets. These are more relevant in terms of getting people to do transactions with you, as well as creating loyalty. So I think that all I'm saying is, all we can say right for now is that people have to be more thoughtful and challenge themselves. Is what I'm doing, just like, is what I'm doing personal promotion, or is it marketing? Is it advertising or marketing? Am I doing social networking or social media marketing? Otherwise, all of these universities and all these corporations that spend billions of dollars in these distinctions are wrong, and we're right. I don't think that's the case.
I knew it was much deeper, because you don't take your thoughts lightly. When you put that down, I'm thinking, well, what does he mean by that? Because that sounds so simple. You got social media or social media marketing. Well, to add another dimension to that, Alan, it's like, I don't do social media that way. I mean, I post pictures of my kids here and there, but what I'm really doing is social media marketing. I do things on purpose. I do things because, look, we'll call it what it is. I'm trying to monetize this stuff. I want people to know that they're better off with me when it comes time to buy and sell a home. But the shift I'm making, and I want everyone at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services to know this, because you're going to see it. You're going to witness it. This is the first episode of the podcast. I'm going to start going macro. I'm going to start going the forever route. I'm telling you, that's going to feed me and my family and my team forever.
Amen.
Instead of just trying to chase deals. 'Cause I've been chasing deals for 12 years. Look, it worked. I'm kind of over it. I'd rather do it forever. So social media marketing versus just social media. Love it. Here's a big one. We need to go from business planning to strategic thinking.
Obviously, I'm not saying that anyone should ever forego business planning, because it's instrumental to success. I think Dwight Eisenhower once said something like, it's reckless to ever go into battle without a strategic plan, but when you get into battle, they're worthless.
Sure.
But that's not to say business planning is extremely important, and the people who do serious business planning do much better in this industry. But a lot of business planning is done without strategic thinking and research. For example, a lot of business plans are glorified goal-setting manifestos. Yeah. But strategic thinking, for example, would be this. What is my addressable marketplace? How many homes? Here's my mobility profile analysis. This triggers knowledge in terms of how frequently people are moving. Which neighborhoods are they moving more frequently? What are the unmet needs of the marketplace? What are the market segments? What percentage of people are downsizing, moving up? What percentage is luxury homes? What percentage is first-time buyers? If all of this research, then a business plan is conducted without adequate research. Moreover, what skills are required, what content is required for me to approach downsizers, people moving up, people relocating, diverse markets. And Christy Budnick has done a phenomenal job, as has Wendy, providing all of these resources, as has Rosalie Warner and Bob Watson, creating all of this different content and specialized approaches for these different marketplaces. But if somebody in the network is not aware of the range and the reach and the influence of these resources, they may have a coach from outside the brand that would just say, yeah, you've got to put together your business plan, but they may not walk them through these predicates. The predicates are strategic thinking and strategic research that then inform the business plan.
Can you imagine how valuable, how invaluable, to use one of Christie's famous terms, it would be to have someone like Alan help you go through the strategic thinking process before putting your business plan together? I wish I had it. I'm out here creating all kinds of videos, doing all this crazy micro stuff. And by God, we predominantly serve first-time home buyers in downtown Baltimore. We were hanging out the last couple of days. Can you imagine the type of marketing that we could make addressing their concerns with just a little bit of strategic thinking instead of just blasting it out? Like off the top, what should I be doing?
Well, let me tell you what I did. First of all, because the industry is transactional, we obsess over the terminology first-time buyers. But essentially, there's no such thing as a first-time buyer. For the most part, they're still in the category of renters. So I created the Rent-to-Buy Assistance Program. The Rent-to-Buy Assistance Program, we had brochures and information, and then we would meet with homeowners and say to homeowners, what are you willing to do to assist a first-time buyer, a renter to become a first-time buyer? Will you pay down a point? Will you pay 3 months out of the lease? Then I had my telemarketing division contact all of the rental buildings. Then I get developments listed because I go to the developer and say, here's what we're going to do. Here's the strategy. These 3 other buildings along the waterfront, they're all rental buildings. Let's say your community is Riva Point or Newport, which I listed. It was 10,000 condominiums. I want to have my telemarketers, and we're going to do direct mail to everybody that's renting and tell them that the entire building has been pre-qualified to move up into this condominium building. And that we had all of the information, all of these things that they would receive, because now you're giving assistance. And then we went to home sellers when the market tanked. You've got to also have this market specific. When there was Stacy's, nothing was happening. Then we went to home sellers and said, you know something, we have a rent to buy. We'd ask this question, folks, there's all sorts of buyers. There's people that are moving up, downsizing, empty nesters, and people that are going from rented to buying. Which category of buyers do you believe is the most likely candidate for your $200,000 ranch home? Well, probably a first-time buyer. Okay, great. That's why we've created the rent-to-buy assistance program. And all you have to do is that you'd have to agree, would you be willing to pay a point? Now, we'll make this up in other ways. Would you be willing to pay them 3 months out of their lease? Will you do this? Will you do that? Okay. Will you pay for their moving? And see, now what we're doing is that we're solutionists. We're not just identifying that this is a good thing for somebody to do. We're providing solutions. That's why I created the move-up system, because I saw everybody else was just saying it's a great move-up market, but they didn't have a move-up program. They didn't have a downsizing program. All of this content that Wendy and I have created will never see the light of day sufficiently when people are still immersed at the micro level, talking about tie downs and, wouldn't you, couldn't you, shouldn't you, didn't you? Okay, see, that's the problem.
Well, so that's the difference between strategic thinking and business planning. And all I'm thinking is, wow, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. Like you're talking about, and you said it before, your only access to consumers is through their concerns. Your address of this is all sociological, macro type issues. And right now, the biggest thing people have going on is interest rates. I said it on the mastermind call that I was fortunate enough to host with Bob Watson last week. I said, look, you can pay down the rate. If the concern's the rate, why don't you just negotiate the closing cost instead of taking the closing cost, the $12K, buy down the rate, and bang, we're back at 3%.
Exactly. But convert that into a program.
You're going to help me do it.
I will.
And you know what the big opportunity here is for all the forever agents? Who creates all the inventory, Alan? Who creates the inventory in the marketplace? New home builders.
Yeah, the builders.
You don't think if you sat down at a B2B level with one of these big nationals, I've been fortunate enough to work with a lot of the nationals. The regional players are even easier, and the smaller builders, they love it even more. So you can't miss, and say, I'm going to create an incentive toolkit where we're going to go after the macro market. We're going to desegment, use some desegmentation techniques and strategically attack this marketplace. They're going to look at you like you have 4 eyes because they've never heard a real estate agent say it.
Exactly.
And it's not hard to stand out in this market if you use what the brand has created for us. Alan's already been doing this for decades and decades, and it worked, and it worked. You don't just end up as the CEO of Realtor.com because your ideas suck. You don't end up building 60 offices and 2,000 agents and somebody had to have it and paid you for it if your ideas didn't work.
The other thing, Andrew, in terms of cultivating builders, I used to take out full-page ads in the 7th largest newspaper in the country in the real estate section that would say, our company salutes New Jersey's builders. Without the builders, we would not have an industry and you would not have a home. Next time you see a builder, thank them for their service, right? So it was creating all the goodwill. But that's another podcast. I could go on for hours in terms of how to secure developments.